Scream 7. I can't.
We now know enough. Just from the way you said the title of the film, we know what's coming. But please do carry on.
Okay, all right. So, directed by Kevin Williamson, from a script by Guy Busick, from a story by James Vanderbilt and Busick. So I have to do some setup here because there's really no other way of doing this. Okay, so 7th installment in the Scream series, starring Neve Campbell, who wasn't in the previous one because the offer that they made her, she felt, was not consistent with the value that she brings to the franchise. So she was not there. Now she held out. Now she's back. So both the previous Scream reboots, 5 and 6, one of which was confusingly titled Scream, also was going to be Scream Forever, and then Scream 6, were directed by Matt Bettinelli-Olpin and Tyler Gillette. So what they did was they refocused the franchise onto this new group of so-called the core 4 characters, which was Melissa Barrera, Jenna Ortega, Jasmine Savoy Brown, and Mason Gooding as Sam Carpenter, Tara Carpenter, Mindy Mix-Martin, and Chad Mix-Martin. During the premiere of Scream 6, the co-director said, we want to be watching Scream movies whether we're involved or not for the rest of our lives. I don't, but everyone was very keen that this franchise was going to keep on going. However, those directors jumped ship in August 2023, apparently due to scheduling conflicts because they were doing Abigail. Then Christopher Landon, who made Happy Death Day, I think Happy Death Day 2, stepped in. Then in November, and I'm sorry this is so industrial, but there really isn't any other way of explaining this film. In November, Melissa Barrera, one of the core 4, was dropped from the new film by producers for comments that she made regarding the war in Gaza, which they claimed had crossed the line into it was suggested by somebody across the line into anti-Semitism, which was strongly pushed back on. It was then announced that Jenna Ortega, another of the core 4, wasn't doing the movie either. And they said it was scheduling conflicts, but she later said the Melissa stuff was happening. It was all kind of falling apart. If Scream 7 wasn't going to be with a team of directors and those people that I fell in love with, it didn't seem like the right move for my career. So now they haven't got the original director and they've now just got the core 2, at which point Christopher Landon, who has been brought in to replace the original directors, he goes too, saying that this is no longer the film that he signed on to do. So then they go back to Kevin Williamson, who, of course, wrote the original Scream and whose previous directing experience includes Teaching Mrs. Tingle, which is not a film that you all remember because very few people do remember. He stepped in to direct from that script. And since they only had the core 2 left of the new cast, it's like, okay, what we need is legacy casting. Hence, we now have a film in which, alongside Jasmine Savoy Brown and Mason Gooding, we have Neve Campbell, David Arquette, Matthew Lillard, Courtney Cox reprising their roles from previous films, and then, a bunch of other people. So the new film, Neve Campbell is back, and there's a new Ghostface killer who is now targeting Sidney Prescott, that's Neve Campbell's character, her daughter, Tatum, according to the publicity, forcing Sidney to face her past and put an end to the killings once and for all. Yeah, right. It's Scream Generations. Here's a clip from the trailer.
Hello?
Hello, Sidney. Did you miss me? Nice little town you found. You and your pretty daughter. Reminds me of where we grew up.
Well, you sure know a lot about me for another asshole hiding behind a voice changer.
Oh, I'm not hiding, Sidney. Not this time.
Yep. So I went back to watch my review of Scream 6 just to remind myself who was still around. And when I searched it, there was an AI summary of my review, okay? And the AI summary said, Mark Kermode's review of Scream 6 suggests the franchise is becoming formulaic, stating that what was once interesting about Scream is no longer as engaging, while acknowledging it is a, in quote, total Scream with inventive kills. He finds the meta-commentary stale. No, I didn't. I said it was awful. AI is just talking out of its backside. what I said was, I wouldn't say the franchise was becoming formulaic. I said the franchise had curled up and died in a rotten heap some years ago. And I had got to the point that I just wanted everything to stop. I didn't know who people were. They were pulling people's masks off and there would be a face there. I didn't recognize it, didn't know who anyone was. Everyone who was dead wasn't dead anymore. People could get stabbed 50 times and then still get up and be fine and running around. And I never said it was a total scream. Never said any of those things. So firstly, AI, do one. Secondly,
I don't think AI is going to get that message, by the way.
No, it isn't fine, but, it'll say, Mark Kermode's review of AI said that perhaps at sometimes it was a little bit, and the rest of it. Over the years, there have been so many killers, so many deaths, so many rebirths that nothing matters. All that matters now is the process leading up to the film. All the arguments, the director's leaving, an actor being dropped, another actor walking out, a director leaving, all those, that is the story. Those are the plots of the films. We should stop anymore actually doing any summary of the screen plots because there aren't plots. There are just industrial notices. In the case of this, we're here again with that cast because of this torturous process of how we got from 5 and 6 to 7. And it's business as usual. So there are in jokes, a killer. Oh, it's always someone you know. There's dead characters coming back from the dead. This time there is AI in the film, incidentally, which is partly why I was mentioning before. There's people getting stabbed in weirdly nasty ways. I mean, it's an 18 certificate film, but and it's the stabby thing is. I mean, stabby. Sometimes there's a kind of unpleasant edge to it. There are references to lesser known Wes Craven. I mean, they bring up people under the stairs, and there's trick questions about Jason Voorhees again, and there's a discussion about Final Girls. There's a couple of sort of theatrical deaths. So there's one which is a kind of sub-Argento thing on a stage with a trapeze flying thing, and there's another thing with a beer pump, which is a very clumsily set up gag. But here's the issue. None of it's fun. None of it's gleeful. I mean, the thing with the first Scream is it was a celebration. This is just like a tax return. It's just like doing accounts. I'm just astonished that we're still here. If I said this with 6, if I had any idea when I did the first on stage with Wes and the cast when the first Scream came out, that decades later I'd be reviewing Scream 7, and the only thing I can tell you about it that's interesting is how we got to the point of this cast and this director and this writer in this particular construction of things. There's every time Ghostface appears, it goes bang. It's not loud. It's not quiet bang. It's, noisy bang, noisy bang. That drum beat bang boom sound to make the jump scare work is so tedious. It's so boring. And some of the stabby stuff is kind of if there was any joy involved in the way these things are staged. But in order to do that, you have to be a really good director. You have to be Dario Argento, or you have to be Mario Bava. Kevin Williamson is not any of those things. And so I'm not kidding, I struggled to stay awake. With the amount of stuff going on, I just struggled to stay awake. The only thing I thought when I was watching it that gave me any sort of joy is Matthew Lillard was actually quite good, and Quentin Tarantino is an idiot.